You're worth over $1 million. You built it yourself. No inheritance. No shortcuts. No family safety net. And yet, you hesitate before upgrading your house. You feel uncomfortable when relatives ask what you do now. You downplay your success in rooms where you once felt small. You thought wealth would feel like a rival. Instead, it feels like distance. Because no one tells you this. When you're the first in your family to become wealthy, you don't just change your bank account. You change your position in the tribe. And that comes with a cost. This is the first-generation millionaire. The pattern breaker. The outlier in the bloodline. They didn't grow up around wealth. They grew up around limits. Conversations about bills. Warnings about debt. Advice rooted in caution, not expansion. Early on, they realized something. If their life was going to look different, they would have to build it themselves. So they took risks their environment didn't understand. Started businesses. Negotiated salaries aggressively. Invested when it felt uncomfortable. They tolerated instability in pursuit of leverage. While others aimed for security, they aimed for escape velocity. And eventually, it worked. The account balances grew. Equity multiplied. Net worth crossed 7 figures. On paper, they won. But emotionally, they entered unfamiliar territory. Because when you're the first to build wealth, there is no inherited blueprint for how to carry it. No model for how much to give. No script for how to say no. No example of how to upgrade your life without feeling disloyal. So they exist between two worlds. Too wealthy to fully relate to where they came from. Too self-made to feel fully at home among inherited wealth. They are respected, admired, sometimes envied. But quietly, they are negotiating guilt, responsibility, and belonging. And that negotiation shapes every financial decision they make. The first-generation millionaire doesn't behave like someone born into money. They behave like someone who had to outrun scarcity. Earning patterns. They struggle to slow down. Even after reaching financial independence, they keep building. New deals. New investments. New expansion plans. Not always because they need more money, but because stopping feels dangerous. When you built everything from zero, you don't fully trust permanence. So you keep producing, just in case. Spending patterns. They are confident making 6-figure investments, but oddly hesitant about lifestyle upgrades. A bigger home, luxury travel, visible wealth. It triggers something uncomfortable. Is this excessive? Will this change how people see me? Am I becoming the kind of person we used to criticize? So they oscillate. Bold in business, conservative in personal pleasure, giving and family dynamics. This is where tension intensifies. When you're the most financially successful person in your family, money becomes symbolic. You're no longer just a sibling or cousin. You're a resource. Requests start appearing. Advice, loans, opportunities, emergency help. And every decision carries emotional weight. If they give too much, they feel drained. If they say no, they feel guilty. So they overextend. Not because they're naive. Because they remember what it felt like to struggle. Social comparison. In wealthy circles, they feel new. Less polished. Less inherited. Less culturally fluent. They understand money technically. But they didn't grow up seeing it casually. So they overprepare. Overthink. Overperform. They're successful, but still proving. The pattern looks like ambition, but underneath it is something else. Overwork to avoid regression. Overgive to avoid guilt. Underenjoy to avoid judgment. Overprove to secure belonging. It's admirable, but it's heavy, and heaviness compounds. At the core of the first-generation millionaire is one silent conflict. Success created distance. Humans are wired for belonging. For most of history, survival depended on staying aligned with your group. Shared values meant shared safety. When you dramatically out-earn your environment, you don't just rise financially. You separate socially. And separation, even upward, can feel dangerous. This is where success guilt begins. You know you worked relentlessly, but you also know others worked hard too. You see friends, siblings, cousins who didn't get the same outcomes. And a quiet question forms. Why me? That question creates tension. If you upgrade too visibly, you risk being seen as different. If you set financial boundaries, you risk being seen as selfish. If you talk openly about wealth, you risk creating distance. So you shrink in certain rooms. You downplay numbers. You soften achievements. You joke about being lucky. Not because you lack confidence. Because you're protecting connection. There's also identity lag. Your external life changed rapidly. But internally, your self-image formed in an environment without wealth. You didn't grow up seeing investment portfolios discussed at dinner. You didn't see generational planning modeled casually. So wealth feels earned, but not normalized. You built money. You didn't inherit comfort around it. That creates constant internal negotiation. How much do I keep? How much do I give? How much is too much? And here's the deeper truth. The first-generation millionaire doesn't fear losing money as much as they fear losing belonging. Money can be rebuilt. Belonging feels harder. So they unconsciously trade emotional comfort for relational safety. And over time, that trade becomes expensive. Let's fast forward 20 years. The first-generation millionaire is now in their 50s. Net worth has grown. Assets diversified. Maybe 8 figures now. On paper, it's generational success. But outcomes depend on which internal script kept running. If nothing changes, they never defined boundaries clearly. They kept saying yes to avoid guilt, kept overextending to maintain harmony, kept downplaying success to protect relationships. Financially, they're stable, but cash flow gets quietly drained through informal loans, repeated rescues, blurred generosity. Emotionally, something builds. Resentment, not explosive, just slow. They start questioning motives. Do they value me or what I provide? They withdraw slightly, share less, trust less. Wealth grows, connection weakens, and success begins to feel isolating instead of liberating. If the pattern shifts, same income, same starting net worth, different identity, they define generosity with structure. Instead of emotional reactions, they create policies. A yearly family support budget, clear boundaries on loans, investment instead of rescue. They allow lifestyle upgrades without apology. They stop shrinking in rooms. They speak about money calmly, without defensiveness. Over 20 years, something compounds beyond assets. Comfort, confidence, clarity. Their wealth doesn't just grow. Their relationship with it stabilizes. The next generation sees money handled without guilt, without secrecy, without tension. The cycle changes. The difference between these two futures isn't intelligence. It is an opportunity. It's integration. If wealth outpaces identity, pressure builds. If identity evolves with wealth, stability builds. Money compounds. But so do unresolved emotions. The first-generation millionaire doesn't need more strategy. They need internal alignment. Because the real tension isn't financial. It's relational and psychological. Here's the shift. 1. Separate wealth from worth. Your success is not betrayal. It is expansion. You are not responsible for shrinking to preserve comfort in others. You can honor where you came from without financially reliving it. Wealth does not disconnect you. Silence and guilt do. 2. Replace emotional giving with structured giving. Generosity should be intentional, not reactive. Define a number, a percentage, a yearly allocation, a clear boundary. When support is structured, guilt decreases. Because you're choosing, not being pressured. Structure protects relationships. Without it, money distorts them. 3. Normalize your new environment. You are no longer the person you were at 20. Exposure rewires identity. Spend time around people who treat wealth calmly. Not performatively. Not defensively. Calm proximity to wealth removes shame. It teaches your nervous system. This is normal now. 4. Redefine legacy. Legacy isn't just money passed down. It's emotional modeling. If the next generation inherits wealth with guilt attached to it. The tension continues. If they inherit clarity, boundaries, and confidence, the cycle upgrades. You weren't meant to just accumulate. You were meant to stabilize. Here's the truth no one says out loud. Becoming the first millionaire in your family isn't just a financial event. It's an identity migration. And migrations feel lonely before they feel settled. But you don't have to choose between wealth and belonging. You only have to update the rules you're living by. So ask yourself, are you building wealth? Or are you still negotiating permission to have it? Because the emotional price of success is only permanent if you never examine it. And when you do, wealth stops feeling heavy and starts feeling earned.